like, how do you feel about gatekeeping our culture? I feel like you said, they are on a wait list. Everybody can come in. I feel like it's very important for us to gatekeep because what we have going on is like people portraying to be racially ambiguous, but they're really
Hmm.
just white, infiltrating our structures because we're just so. I just feel like black people are just so kind. Like we're not this barbaric group, this savage group that people portray us
Too
to be.
kind sometimes.
Yeah, to our own demise. So how do you feel
Right.
about gatekeeping our culture?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's important because there's just some things you got to keep sacred. And again, like the other races do it too. Like you're not always allowed to always practice their culture. There's some things they won't even talk to you about or teach you
Yeah.
because that's their thing. Like, no, that's for us. We don't want them knowing that.
And when you
You
step
know what
into
I'm
them
saying?
communities, you know what communities you stepping into. You
Yeah,
Facts.
know
Like,
what.
it's too like, what you doing over here?
Yeah.
yeah, like you can't go in there and disrespect their culture. They're gonna deal with you.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But we kind of let everybody practice our culture, right? And
Yeah.
not only that, but we'll let them practice our culture and let them say they created it or invented it or they're the best at it. Like I'm seeing this with hip hop, right? And a lot of people got on Lord Jamar about this, but he was like, "Yo, Eminem can never be the best rapper of all time.
Yeah.
he is a guest in hip hop. He's a guest in hip hop because he didn't create it." You
Right.
know what I'm saying? No matter how much you think about his music, whatever if you just want to take the skill of him as an artist, right, you can look at that, but he's still a guest in hip hop
Yeah.
because
He has,
this is not technically his space and his people ain't created.
Yeah. That's facts.
All
That's
right.
facts. And I was just
and
going.
then like,
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah,
I
go
was
ahead. We've been talking.
like, even with hip hop, there's like this surge of Caucasian media outlets that interview our hip hop greats. How do you feel about that?
I was going like specifically for that with media outlets. And when it comes to hip hop, we sell ourselves so much, like it's getting nasty to the point where we're basically fighting for crumbs, and we see it with streaming platforms and stuff like that, where people don't even know how much a stream is. People could be getting millions of streams and only getting paid 20% of what the actual amount that was made off of a song or something like that. So when it comes to these media outlets, it's the same way. We know certain people on YouTube. I'm not gonna name nobody because excuse me, fuck them, because how they set them up, and they set a lot of our artists up because they know the area we come from, and it's very, it makes money for those people that actually don't live in those situations. They like to see struggle. That's why we always see a slave movie every other year, or
Facts.
that gets hella money funded into it. But we see movies like Birth of a Nation, where it's talking about Nat Turner, where people are literally taking the lead actor, killing his name and killing the whole movie. But that's what sells. That's like, if I was outside the culture and I'm seeing people, they're making billions, millions of dollars off of Black people, why would I not put my foot in there to make money? And we talked about this. Me and Kenyatta talked about this on our hip hop episode,
Yup.
how the heads of these labels are white men, are Jewish white men a lot of the times. And you know what sells, what's getting pushed as a number one single, what's getting pushed as the hottest thing out right now is gonna be us some way disrespecting each other, disrespecting ourselves, taking drugs until we die, selling drugs until somebody else dies, shoot somebody until they die, hopefully hit their mama and they grandma, and hit their little niece until they die. I can't shoot because I never been to a gun range and I don't know gun control, so I'm gonna just shoot anywhere and they're gonna die. How many things we seen with people just shooting in the air on New Year's Eve and the bullets come
They're
down, hit
going like this.
people? Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like it's
Like that's poor gun handling right there. Like
yeah. And we see things, it sells. Like, sadly, that's what sells. That's what people want to see. It's our culture, so of course we're gonna consume it because one, we can relate, and so we have that better connection. But when we see one of the larger consumers of hip hop is white America, they like to see that stuff. They like to see us killing each other, and it's always been like that. So of course, we're gonna get new white media outlets popping up, but I do like seeing the new Black media outlets popping up, and kind of shine a light on, one, Black excellence, and then two, positive, like people who are actually making impacts on the community. And sometimes it's the rappers that's rapping about the grimiest shit, whatever's in the street. And you know, they doing positive stuff. Big Change, like 21 Savage, you know, he rap about the worst of the worst, but he doing stuff for the community, teaching financial literacy and stuff like that on the side. So yeah.
Even with 21, so he did that mixtape with Metro.
Yeah.
And so I did like, I don't know, I found this article like in the pit. And he was talking about how certain songs, not all of them obviously, but certain songs are speaking to your heart chakra.
Yeah.
So some of it is high vibrational.
And vibrations.
Yeah, and so he was learning about, you know, the 432 hertz and how him and Metro were like, you know, trying to mix and master and still give it that sound, that normal 21 sound, but adding those implements. And I had spoke on that, and people were like, I don't understand. It's like it doesn't make for you to understand. People are choosing, people are growing and learning, and they're trying to unlearn to relearn new things for to better the community.
It's a big thing. I'm learning.
Even with like the frequencies, like this could be like a whole nother topic, but a lot of that is, and I think you mentioned it in one episode too, and we said the same thing. But a lot of that can be used as like a weapon. You know what I'm saying? Like they weaponize like sounds, right? Even hip hop itself. Hip hop is a weapon to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's how we're gonna use it, right? Like a gun, right? You can do bad things with it, or you can protect your family with it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's like what are we gonna do with hip hop? Because we know hip hop has that power, and hip hop is a weapon. So are we gonna let them use it as a weapon against us? Or are we gonna use it as a weapon, right, to uplift our people? You feel me?
Right.
Yeah, folks is talking about it more, man. I'm seeing music, you know, that talks about it and trying to. Hey, I'm noticing more as I get older. You know, probably when I was younger, and the music I was listening to, I didn't catch it, but I'm seeing rappers and hip hop artists, you know, giving out those little hints, like, yo, there's something bigger. Like y'all have to understand that. And more of them are coming out and talking about it, like, yo, something weird is going on behind the scenes. Like we talked about it, but since I'm young, just like you, I'm 23. I'm letting you know it's something weird going on. These people aren't here for us. They trying to take me away. They trying to take my soul. And, you know, we come out with folks come out with little conspiracies. Oh, they sold their soul to this. And yo, y'all relax, because a lot of music that they making that you hearing on the radio is speaking to your soul. Like it's trying to infiltrate the same way. If you don't think frequencies, and I'm not trying to get you know, super technical or super in depth or weird or nothing like that, whatever you want to call it, but that music is speaking to you. And just like your words of affirmation that you may say every day, just like the astrology that you might believe in is how it affects your day, the music is doing the same thing. Music is one of the most powerful things in this universe, not just to hip hop or anywhere else. It's powerful. So be careful, man.
It's always been a part of our culture too. You know what I'm saying? Like we've always been big onto it, and this can be a whole another topic. But I mean, the Haitians use this and stuff, right? And one of the reasons why they would take our culture away and our music is because like we were going to war. Like there was certain like we do certain patterns and we could signal like, yo, the enemy coming, or you know what I mean? Like that was like
singing in the fields, man.
Right? You know what I mean? Like we use that, and like it was so much part of our culture that we understood it. You know what I'm saying? And we even fought people that way. You know what I'm saying? So that's another reason why they kind of just took that stuff away from us, right? And made us lost to it.
That's why I don't agree with people outside of our culture, like using Ebonics. Like, because I feel like that's my way of safety. Like, if I go to work and it's a new Black person that comes in, I can talk to them in a certain way that you just can't.
All I gotta say is what's going on, and I'll know. If I say what's going on, and they hit me with the I'm chilling or what's good, I'm like, okay, like, cool. I'm tapped in now.
Yeah.
Like I would never go to my white boss and be like, hey, what's good? Or you know what I'm saying? Something like that. But if I know
different meanings for us, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just the tone of it. So like I've been seeing like on Twitter when they like say like our saying, like, why are you telling people what we mean? Like, oh, when they say you good, it can mean this. It's like now you put me in danger, because now I got Sally over here talking about some, and they still saying this. This is so old. Bye, Felicia. And it's like now them fighting words. Now I gotta argue with Sally because she want to use Ebonics, and it's like no, that's not for you.
And if you put a picture Friday, and you told them point out Felicia, they don't know who Felicia
They don't know.
is.
Or
You feel
like
me?
even something as small as, I don't know if y'all got this. I don't know if white men say bro or bruh, but it
Baby.
bothers me when white women be like, sis, yes, sis. We are not sisters.
Yeah. At
Or they be
all.
trying to talk with their hands. Hey, you know who else is the biggest appropriators of black women? Gay white men.
Yeah.
No, that's
they,
facts.
they be doing that too.
No, that's facts.
Or
Yeah.
like even like gay black men, they like to put us in a negative light for comedy, like wearing wigs.
Yeah, black men like to do that too. A lot of black men came up off
Yeah.
depicting black women in a negative light. And I know I
Right.
seen
The
a Twitter
dress.
video, folks pointing them out too. It was funny, but you look back on it, that ain't it. Because a lot of them got their rise to fame off that. A
Mhm.
lot of them.
And then when they get called out, they're like, no, like they get so butthurt. But it's like, when are you just gonna take accountability? Like, I feel like that's my thing. People want to argue themselves down, and it's just like, no, just listen to the people.
Yeah,
And
facts.
I like that you had mentioned like it's like our safe space, like how we talk and stuff.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I don't think we mentioned it, but like a lot of times we wear a veil. We wear that mask that Frederick Douglass mentioned. We wear that veil that to kind of protect us and kind of blend us in with the other folks. And, how we talk, is kind of lifting that up to kind of get that signal. And so I definitely agree. This is something to keep us safe because I know if I could talk a certain way, I'm not going to be judged. I'm not going to be looked at a certain way. A ladder's not going to be snatched from me. My dream not going to be snatched from me. I had to catch myself a couple times in a professional setting, like, hey,
Right.
what y'all talking about over there? And I'm like, I'm my supervisor in her office, but I'm talking to two other black people that work within the office, and they understand. But I had to catch myself like, whoa, hold on, Sam, because you too loud with how you talking, even though they understand and they clicking with you. Your supervisor is right there, so let's calm
Facts.
down a little bit. And that's kind of that veil. Not saying I'm scared, but it's just the perception. A lot of times perception can be a killer.
Yeah.
Always for our community, we either perceived as thugs, no good, low, dirty, down, ghetto thugs, whatever, they come up with these days. I don't really give a fuck, but whatever they come up with these days, can sometimes stop a blessing that you might have. So I do agree, it's some of our safe spaces, but I did want to ask y'all how y'all feel about the N word and other communities using it, and actually them arguing that if we use it, they should be able to use it. It's
Man.
actually comical. It's funny at this point.
Man, this is just like, I don't know, man. They think they're so entitled to anything, right? And that includes other people's cultures. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, especially when it comes to the N word, like my views are definitely changed, right? Like, getting into like, teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I try not to use it like at all. Like I'm getting better with it, but we've been conditioned a lot of times too. Like, we hear it in music, or it's just like we just hear it all the time. Like growing
Yeah.
up, we think it's like cool. But and a lot of people, like, when I talk to a lot of black people about this, they'll even bring up like there's nothing wrong with it. But I'll explain to them. So if you go and talk to somebody, you might say, "Hey, what's good, my nigga?" You feel me? Like just conversation. But when you get mad at that person, you be like, I'm a kill that nigga, right? Or I'm a
Right.
you feel me? So how can it be a good term if like the same way you're gonna like use as a term of endearment, if you're mad at that person, you're gonna use the same word. You know what I'm saying? So then it's like, is this word even positive in the first place? Like, it even sounds different. Like if I say, yo, like peace, king, or something, like, what's good, king? Peace, God. You know, is it, huh? Oh,
It makes you like sit up, like you have more confidence.
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely when you address folks. How you feel about it, Ashley?
facts.
So, well, with the N word, I feel like, I don't know if you guys know this, but like how the N word basically represents the dead man. So like we just like the Walking Dead. So
Mhm.
basically we just calling each other Walking Dead, like, hey, what's up, Walking Dead? Like basically, because
Yeah.
it's like you're just a body, but you don't know nothing. Like
Mhm.
it's stupid. So we've been brainwashed into believing that we don't know enough. But that's as far as it goes, right? But like as far as like someone saying, "Hey, what's up" to me and using it, I personally won't be that offended because I just know it's just so ingrained in us. But as far as other communities using it, I have a huge problem with that.
Yeah.
Like that's
Facts.
absolutely unacceptable because it's like you know the history of it. You cannot tell me you don't know the history of it. We aren't that far removed from being spit on and being called that. Like my grandma can literally, if we had someone draw a picture of the white man that did that to her, she could give you the description. Like she's still alive. So it's not like it's so long ago. I don't think you should be using it. And then to argue as to why you should use it, like you said,
It's in the music though. If it's in the music, we should be able to say it.
but even like as a child, like there was cuss words in songs. I made sure I did not repeat it. I believe
Hey, I knew I was
myself.
gonna get my ass up if I repeated it. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like,
Like what you would say, even if it's a part of
right?
the song, it's no excuse. The reason why, even when it's a part of the song, the reason why it's a part of the song is most of the time a black person is using it.
Yeah.
That's how it's spoken of. Not saying it's right, but a black person, again, a black person is using it. It's not like an Asian person is seeing themselves say it. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
that representation aspect as well. It's like, okay, but that music doesn't even represent you, so you're just using it. So when you're using it, you're basically using it in a derogatory way if you are not black. Like point blank and period. I don't care if it's a part of the song. I don't care if you're reading it in the book. You better just skip that word.
Yeah.
Facts. And like to your point too, like you said, I was thinking about this as you was talking, but it's like, yeah, like even if it gets used, like I'm not gonna get super offended. Like my homies will say it, and I know like there's things that I know and some things I follow that other people don't. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Mhm.
like the history of the word, like we know, you know what I'm saying. But a lot of people might not even thought about it that deep yet. You know, so I understand. But even like you were saying, even when it's in music, they're speaking about black people's experiences. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They're speaking to black people, right? They're not putting it in a song and their intent is for everybody to use it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, but they try to make that a way, and it's like, yo, they're still speaking to black people at the end of the day, right? They're talking about their communities, right? And they're talking about their experiences. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And, and it be the communities that, well, shit, it's damn near every community, and it's still, let me not be disrespectful. It's damn near every community that imitates us, but they feel so entitled to use the word nigga. And it's crazy to me that multiple groups of people cannot like us, but want our culture so bad. Like
Oh,
right.
they want to be able to say it so much, like they'll argue with you tooth and nail, and they'll even be like, "So why do you want to say it so much?" No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. Not why I want it. You don't bring up an issue after I brought an issue to you, and it'll be like the Latino community that wants to use it, and we already know how they get down with people of color and people that are even darker shades than them. We already know how they get down, or
Yeah.
even some Asian communities, you know how they get down with our community and how we interact with them. They want to use this, they want to use the word, they even want to take fucking b-boying as their own culture, which makes no sense. And I brought
Yeah,
this up on
we
another
talked
one
about that. Yeah.
because that is the most craziest thing. Actually, I seen a documentary, not a commercial, I think it was like a Red Bull commercial. I don't even remember what it was. It was on YouTube though.
or Sprite. It probably was a Sprite.
I do not remember, but it was a group of Koreans, and I'm not fucking, I am trying to bash. It was a group of Koreans basically saying their culture is hip hop, is b-boying, breakdancing. I said, there's no way.
Never.
You are a liar, because no. It's fine that you can be part of it, you can be it, but you're not gonna be across the world and tell me that that's your culture and that's why you dressing like that and why you using that
Things
type
like
of,
braids.
yeah.
Right.
So even when it comes to the N-word, everybody wants to be part of us, use the N-word until, you know, some shit go down and now the N-word is a different term. You don't want to be, you didn't want to be the N-word back then. We didn't either. But when we was telling you not to say it back then, you still wasn't listening. So now it's like an alienation thing that people are starting to do. And that's what we need to call it, because you're alienating us by saying, well, if I can't say it, then you can't say it. No, we've been asking you stop saying it. and you continue to say it, and we're still asking you to stop saying it. So how you gonna tell us to stop saying it when you came up with the word? How you gonna tell us to stop saying something that we took and changed the meaning of it, endearment, whatever you want to call, make the meaning into to be acceptable for you. And now you have issue, and now you're trying to govern on what we do and how we speak. That's crazy to me. And there was people for real.
We can even bring it to our cousins, right? Native Americans. So like, I feel like you wouldn't dare just be like, you Indian, you know what I mean? It's like almost equivalent to the N-word because, like they were called that by the Pilgrims and so on and so forth. But if they are talking to each other and calling each other that, I'm not gonna be like, let me say it. Like,
somebody even said like women with the B word. They were like, you're not finna go and call no woman a B word, but they gonna call each other that amongst themselves as one endearment, just joking around and talking. But let a man come out the blue and be like, hey, now at his neck as they should be. It has to hold the same weight. It has to hold the same weight.
The same thing. Like, just the fact that you want to argue me down about it is a problem.
And then they'll yell, well, you need to educate me. No. We've been educating you. You've been educated.
Like they've definitely seen people like get beat down for saying it many times. You can go on social media. There's a new video every week. You feel me? So
I'm gonna tell you right now, you say it around me, it's an issue. I only had one encounter. There's only been one encounter, and it was not until I got to college, and I had to stop that whole conversation and let that man know, don't do that again, or it's up in this dining hall. It's up in
And I blame like people who are like friends with other races. Like, you should not just be giving them no pass. Like, I was talking to somebody and he was Puerto Rican, and the minute he said the N-word, oh, it was cut. I said, what? Done. Because that just rolled off your tongue. Like, that's muscle memory. Someone's letting you say that.
You done said this a good 100 times.
Okay, someone letting you say that. Nah, we good.
That's what I did too.
We good, bro.
Yeah. I looked around when bro said, I said, I'm looking around at my friends like, yo, y'all ain't hear what the white boy just said? Like, y'all, I said, you kept talking. I said, no, bro, don't ever say that again. Or it's really up, bro.
Bro, look, at my school one time, like, I don't know, like, I didn't feel like pressing them because I'm like, bro, if I press them, I'm just gonna get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Which kind of like, I don't know. If I were to go back in time, I probably would have just pressed them and say, fuck it. But it was these
you ain't gotta fight them. You can press them though.
No, but here's the situation though. It was white. It was these white girls in the hockey team, and it was like there was not a lot of people in the lunchroom. They must have got off practice or something, and I gotta think when this was. I think it was after football practice, or it could have been the off season. I'm not sure, but I know the women's hockey had a practice, and one of them said "nigga," and we was like, "What? Like, did we hear that right?" Like. We didn't think we heard it right. We're like, what? But then it's almost like the dynamic. Like, I felt like if I pressed them and said what I wanted to say, because I'm gonna be honest, like I would have probably used the B word. No, I'm sorry. Like they got me mad. You feel me?
Yeah. We need to get back to a time where people was getting their ass beat for doing certain things. Like, people need to start getting reprimanded so they don't do that shit again.
Yeah, and not each other either. Look, not each other. Stop beating up on each other, please. I'm tired of looking at videos. Look, I'm tired of looking at folks in Miami jumping. It's a whole group fight of each other, just looking crazy out there.
Right, World Star and all that.
Looking all kinds of crazy.
Facts, and I feel like too sometimes when they use it, like my situation, I'm in the school lunchroom. This is my freshman year, so I'm like, I'm not trying to jeopardize my future. I'm not trying to get kicked off the team. I'm not trying to get kicked out of school. So it's like, dang, almost like they want to use it. And like, I don't know, if they were in a closed room and it's just y'all, nobody's watching, I feel like they have a hard time using it because they know it's over with.
No, they not gonna say
you feel me? But they're gonna use it in a public place in a lunchroom around other people that they know gonna back them up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just
No, you should be.
And I feel like
you're out of here.
Yeah, and I feel like it's almost like, oh, you the cool kid because you saying it. Like, you the cool kid because you done got away with saying it. You imitating them. We see it all the time. White folks, Hispanics, Asians, they got the fades with the gold chains on. They rocking the Air Forces.
The sneakers.
Yeah, they not saying, they can't partake in that stuff, but it be them ones that be trying to push the line.
Come correct. Don't
well, I grew up in this area, so I can say it. No, that does not mean you can say it where you grew up. I do not care. Even if the folks that was around you was black, was letting that slide. Do not come and say that around me, because I am not the one.
Right.
That's like J-Lo. J-Lo was saying that. Stupid. Talking about I was around black folks, so I could say it. That don't make no
That
sense.
does not
There
mean
are
nothing.
black people that are born and raised in a suburban area, and they don't even be doing the most with Caucasian people.
Right.
Oh yeah, and you know, there's black folks that are raised in suburban areas around white people that don't get the same opportunity as them just because they were raised in a white area. They don't
Exactly.
get the same resources as those other races just
Them
because
white
they were
people.
in the same area. And they did. Come on now, we can get into redlining too, but I don't
Right.
want to. I don't want to throw too much at the folks right now. But for real, like, just because you grow up around somebody does not give you the right to use a word, even if the word shouldn't be used. One, you're not the person to bring that up to my people.
Yes, like who are you to reprimand?
Yeah,
Like,
you is not the one. Who
Right.
are
Like,
you?
or even when it's like comes to suggestions, like what black people need to. You don't need to tell me what black people need to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and they'll throw like athletes and entertainers on what they said in your face. They'll be like, "Well, such and such said this, so what you got to say to that?"
right. Or
No,
here's my
Get
favorite
paid
one.
by
Here's
the
my favorite
white
one.
man.
Martin Luther King said, like, you feel me? Like,
and he
like
got killed.
they love using Martin Luther King, and it's like, oh, like, or that's what I hate too. Like, that's why we need to be on code, because they're always gonna have an example of a sellout, right? And of the reason well, he said black people should do this, so I'm just repeating what he said, and it's like, bro,
Yeah,
we need to be on code, like,
they love doing that one. He said this. He is not a leader. They'll be like,
right,
"Oh, he's not a leader," but
Or they don't tell the full story. Be like, well, he also said, like, come on,
yeah,
facts.
people grow and evolve. You're expecting. When did they pass? Like late 30s,
Which one?
38, 39. MLK and Malcolm X.
No, no, like 60s.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean age.
Oh, like age.
They were like 39, right?
We can roll with it.
They definitely, yeah, they
No,
definitely
wrong
weren't in
with it.
their 50s or 60s, but yeah, something like that, 30s, 40s.
But like,
Yeah.
I feel like they've been doing it since what, 19? So it's like these are men that are evolving, so they can obtain new information and change their mind. Just like MLK, you had stated earlier, like he obtained new information, was learning new things, and then was changing his politics.
Yep.
That should be applauded because he was doing his homework and he was trying to still better his people, better
Yeah.
his community.
Yeah, and for all my folks out there, if they use our greats and our intellectual leaders to bring up certain points, remember that a lot of our intellectual leaders and our greats were either sabotaged by the U.S. government, and there's proof, or they were killed by the U.S. government, and there's proof, or just people in general. So remember that when they bring
Exactly.
up MLK, you know, it's there's a case where they won that. His wife won that case, where it proves that, you know, he was murdered, not assassinated by bruh, but in a hospital. So remember that one too. And then new information came out about MLK as well, with his assassination as well, his murder. So be aware of those things too. So it don't matter what coin you flip, you know, how they try to divide them two as well. What coin you flip, they still gonna be at our head tops regardless if you try to pass any information to your folks. But I did want to talk about leaders and how important leaders are in our community, and how sometimes there's not so many leaders to choose from. How y'all feel about that? Like having one set leader. I know for me, I like following Farrakhan because, you know, I might not subscribe to, you know, the religion, but he talks
Yeah.
to everybody. He just talks to black people in general. And, you know, folks like to tear him down because the anti-Semitic stuff that
Yeah,
I never heard.
anti-Semitic.
Yeah, that I never heard. Yeah, I haven't heard it yet, but
Right.
we just gonna,
He's
yeah.
never.
Yeah, I never heard it, and I haven't seen nobody pull up no
No.
videos of it. But that's an easy way for them to, you know, tear our
Right.
folks down.
And
But
then if you look up what a Semite is, you're gonna realize who the original Semites are, who the Semite people are. You feel me? It's not talking about white people. You
but
feel me?
just understand that. But how do y'all feel about, you know, leadership? You know, Farrakhan is getting up there in age. Actually, I don't. I think you did mention that you listened to Farrakhan, but how do y'all feel about leaders and having intellectual leaders, since entertainment leaders are kind of prevalent. Like we looking at people like LeBron James, we're looking at Colin Kaepernick, like these people who are in athletics and entertainment, kind of being the leaders, but they're not always educated on the topics because that's not their first issue at hand.
Facts. You want to go first on this one, Ashley?
So that's kind of that was a heavy hitter. So,
Yeah.
I mean, well, when it comes to entertainers, we have to discuss the Black Boule and why exactly they have all this power and aren't necessarily doing anything about it. We don't see any change as far as they go. The importance of leadership, I think, is very important. I'm going to touch on, and I know we were talking about Caucasian people, but Sean King, Tamika Mallory, there's two other people I can't think of right now. And just the effect that they have on our community as far as their celebrityness now, right? So now we're looking at.
Quick side note: Sean King used to be my pastor in Atlanta.
Oh, for real?
Oh my God.
Which is crazy. Yeah, in middle
crazy.
school he was my pastor, man. Shout out to him, but yeah, he helped my mom. We was in a tough situation. He helped my mom's out, so you know, that's it. But keep going.
We have these individuals that start off grassroots, like almost, and then they get sort of starstruck, and now they're in this celebrity fame space. And we can even say that for our past leaders because, you know, people was on their head, you know, and interviews was going, especially with Malcolm X and what he said about JFK, like, you know, stuff was happening. Right. So even with this, but now we see them take their celebrityness and basically backhand us. So now they're playing and buying into the Democratic Party, you know, everything that's like against the growth of Black people all of a sudden, which is very detrimental because we thought these were quote unquote leaders or at least pioneers as far as growing us as a people. And that's why I think it's very important for us to have leaders that have morals, that will stand their ground, that aren't going to shake for anything. I mean, we have, I think Tamika Mallory, she was talking about Daniel Cameron, who was the attorney for Breonna Taylor's case. She was talking how he was like, he was kin, but he wasn't kin to us, right? But then turn around and she's talking to Andrew, I forget his last name, Crump, I believe. So it's like these weird cases where things are just coming out and it's like nothing's being done. Oh, all we get is a settlement, all this, and then they just want to tell the Black community, oh, well, this is just how this works.
Yeah.
But if we had a leader that was like Farrakhan, be like, you know, the wickedness of these people and like really just being very unapologetic and basically without saying it, nah, fuck that. This is what's going on. And to command the presence. See, Farrakhan has a very commanding presence. That even
talk to you, he talk that talk. He just be in the
chair
now.
That even a man with the biggest ego, he gonna stop and listen. And I'll even add in Dr. Claude Anderson because I just think he's just so amazing. He has that same presence where he's just when he speaks, everybody is quiet. Everyone is taking it in, absorbing it, letting it marinate. And I think that's important in a leader as well. We need to have that commanding presence where it's like, this is no cap. Like, this is what it is. Chop, chop. Make no mistake. I don't care what you got to say about it. These are the facts.
Yep. That's facts.
Yeah, to add on that too, what you said, I think you kind of touched on at first, like how some of these leaders, they're kind of like celebrities and leaders or something, right? Yeah. And something Malcolm X said, and he was talking about like, yo, like these, and he said like trumpet players, but we can equate that to like, you know, rappers and stuff nowadays. But he said like trumpet players and athletes and comedians can't really be your leaders, right? And what he meant by that, like, I don't think he's saying, because I mean, like Muhammad Ali, like he was an athlete, but he was also a good leader, whatever. So he's not saying like just because they're like in like athletics, they like can't be leaders. But when you look at a white leader, do you think of Tom Brady or Steve Nash?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
You think of Britney Spears? No.
No, you think of like Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I mean? Like somebody like that. And look how much power those people have, right? You know what I'm saying? So it just comes down to like, I guess, how we, I don't know, who we perceive as leaders. And also not everybody, like, because obviously there's going to be multiple leaders, right? And I don't think everybody's job is also the same either, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, Jay-Z, like there's a lot of controversial stuff about him. People talk about him. And do I want somebody like Jay-Z on the front lines, or P. Diddy, or the minister? Like I don't want those people on the front lines. You
They
know what
can
I'm
be
saying?
on the third line.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Right? And just because they're not on the front line don't mean they're not doing nothing, or
Exactly,
So
because they serve a purpose.
right, there's like an order to this too. And also furthermore, right, because we also talked about how there's so many different religions, schools of thought, beliefs. So we got to start thinking like there's going to be individuals that are like good for us, but the code has to be our leadership, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like we just proved, right, no matter, because there's a lot of people who hate Farrakhan, right? You know what
A
I mean?
lot.
But they still want to do good for black
But
people.
they
But
don't know why.
yeah, like they be banging, but on the other side, maybe they still want to do some good for black people. They just don't rock with the nation,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, right? But our leadership and our goals will be applied to doing something for black people. You know what I'm saying? And that's something we can get along with, right? Not everybody gonna want to rock the star, moon, and crescent or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But if we can just be black first and be like, all right, so no matter what it is, our number one goal is to build a nation. Then that's the best form of leadership to me.
Yeah. And I think too, with especially recently, if you got the money, you got the power. If you got the power, you in charge. So I think that's another reason why, we see a lot of our athletes and our entertainers kind of taking these positions or coming into these positions, not by choice, but kind of by force, because we're looking at them like, yo, you're making the most money. You're in that 1%, and you're in a smaller percentage than that when it comes to our community. So we kind of look towards that to them as our leaders, because we think, one, they figured it out, they broke into it, but they can't be our leaders because, they sign them contracts, and who owns them? Not, owns them, but
Right.
they own it. They own these people. So how can they be our leaders, and they can get whipped in the back if they make a wrong move? We seen it with Colin Kaepernick. He took a knee. They got him out of there. They said, "Oh no, you're you're
And
crazy."
look at Nick Cannon too. The
Nick
Nick Cannon
Cannon
situation was crazy too.
got him out of there. He
You
didn't even
feel me?
say nothing
Like
that. Yeah, Nick
real
Cannon didn't
quick.
even say nothing that crazy. Like,
All he was doing was regurgitating.
yeah. Folks,
Right.
yeah, folks said way worse about our community and let slide, but us, we got to stay in check. So, we see that and we like, okay, they make the most money, they got to be our leaders. And then I know we're trying to unsubscribe from this in the conscious community, the poor righteous teacher, because a lot of our teachers been, if you making money off of us, then you're not really teaching us. Like, if you doing this off of us, then you're not really helping us. Like, you're not really for the community. If you using some of the money that we giving you, or you asking for some of the money, asking for some money from us to support you, so you're able to travel and you're able to spread your message. If you doing all that, then we can't even rock with you. You got to be poor and righteous. You got to be here on the streets with us. And that's changing.
Yeah.
That's changing now, but that was a big rhetoric, especially early on, like, oh, you got to be poor. And now we see it's a negative impact, because now if you're poor and you even teaching, nobody's going to listen to you. So now you need the money to kind of back that up. But then you can't get the money because nobody's supporting you. Nobody believes in you. Nobody, us as a community, when black owned products come, even black intellect comes, we don't want to invest in it. Like, you don't want to invest in a kid that is trying to create a new laptop, or you don't invest in a kid that's trying to do something new, something different than the norm. But you gonna take homie from, down the block, the kid from down the block, put him under your wing, make sure that he get to the league, put him under your wing, make sure that he meet this next producer, this next artist. And I'm seeing it now, like, fashion is getting bigger inside of hip hop culture, but I'm seeing, these designers taking other people under their wing. And I like seeing that, it's something different, it's something more creative. But as far as our leaders, they got to be intellectual. They got that has to be the first thing. Black people have to be the first thing on their plate. A lot of our entertainers and athletes, their first thing on their plate is to make a check, is to do what their God-given gift, playing ball is, that's the first thing on their mind. That's the first thing that they're doing every day. They worrying about nutrition first. We need a leader that's worried about our people first and how to make us better. And that's ultimately how all of us need to be. Since all of us aren't there, at least some of us got to pick up the slack. That's why people like Farrakhan, anytime you hear him speak, it's about us. It's not about entertainment. It's not about the ocean. It's not about none of that. It's about how can we improve as a people, and that's what our leaders need to be doing. That essentially, that's it.
Right.
Facts.
I just wanted to piggyback off of that, like for righteous teachers. I think that's also why, aside from his LGBTQIA opinions, Dr. Umar gets a lot of flack for putting his cash up down below. And like,
Yeah,
Right.
why
They
are
be,
you?
man.
And
He
it's
can't get a
like,
break.
first of all, anytime something goes down, y'all quick to like chop and screw his interviews and be like, "This is what Dr. Umar said." Like,
The
you know,
memes.
memes, like he's the reason why you have memes, but he has a point. You know what I mean? Like that's just typical black folks. Like we gonna crack jokes on you, but like it's still love. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I just
Yeah.
feel like it's very wrong of us to just like, if you have the means to just be like, well, why he got his cash app? But let Beyonce have her cash app. I bet you be donating to Beyonce, even though you know she got money.
yeah. And
You know?
folks,
Yeah.
Kylie Jenner was just asking folks to send money to her, and she a
Yes, and she
billionaire.
deserved all that flack she
Yeah,
getting.
she got a whole bunch of flat, but she only got flat because she has millions of dollars. She is a billionaire already.
Yes.
It be our teachers and people trying to give us information, like literally like teaching us, and we can't even give them no money. Like we can't even support them even a little bit, which is crazy to me. And that brings up into like another thing too, how quick us as a people we tear down our black leaders and how we tear down,
Oh, yes.
like
I
Facts.
received that
they
first.
make the smallest mistakes, and we what they did what? Oh no, they're done. No, they're out of here. Nuh-uh, nothing
But
else.
Right.
Cut.
Even especially with the Dr. Umar thing, like I've had people send me a meme and they don't even know who Dr. Umar is or what he's trying to do, but they just clowning.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Or even when it comes to like Farrakhan or the Nation, right? They want to clown the bean pies and the bow ties and stuff like that. But it's like, yo, like you don't even really know about it. You just trying to
yeah,
crack a joke. And like you said, like it's in our culture to roast, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
right.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's when are we gonna be serious? When do we
yeah,
ever get down to business? Right? We can joke around, that's cool. But there has to be a time where black folks are like productive. And Nelly Fuller is big on that, right? He said that we need to have productive conversation, right? You know, kind of like we do a creative universe, right? It's just straight productiveness, right? And some people just want to joke like all day long. You know what I'm saying? But and it's also crazy how like it's towards our leaders, like somebody that's trying to help black folk, and even individually, I'm sure a lot of y'all probably got roasted for being conscious or being
Yeah.
pro-black, and it's crazy because the people you're trying to help sometimes are like your biggest like adversaries to you, or they're
yeah.
giving you the most problems. And it's like, bro, like every day I'm trying to figure out how to make black people better.
No
And
cap.
you clowning me.
Yeah,
You feel me? Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Like I know for me, so I was like the big things it was just like power economics. Let me do this. So I started like mutual aid, right?
yeah,
And so I was like helping people, buy products with the mutual aid. People were funding it, donating, whatever, whatever. But then there was a situation where the lady, she asked for like the simplest thing. She was just like, I know, this is for business. She reached out to me and was like, but would you be able to buy me and my daughter dinner, like from the mutual aid? And I'm like, dang, like she don't have nothing. But she's not asking me for groceries. She just like, can it be dinner? I don't care, what it is. Before I could even respond, someone assumed that I responded and was like, oh, that's what you're using the mutual aid for? But I'm like, I'm just gonna let
They,
somebody
they,
go
they was
home.
ready. They was ready to bring you down. Is what that tells
yeah.
me.
They was ready.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
Let
was
someone
ready.
go
Like give her
hungry.
that much.
And then the minute I was like, so I'm just gonna let someone go hungry. Well, what if she's not telling the truth? That's not something that I have to deal with. That's not something that I have to contend to. Like,
yeah, and that's something that like scared me too, because I want to set up a way to kind of keep funding the community and coming up with creative ways to fund the community, but have our people invest into a certain product to put the money and the
right.
currency back into the
Yeah.
community. So with that, it's like if I do it that way, I'm thinking like, dang, if I do it that way, then I got to show them receipts to
Yeah, I
everywhere,
was showing receipts. I was
like sending them money,
Right.
and
You gotta
that's
have everything ready.
yeah, and that's crazy because you know McDonald's and all these other corporations and Publix and stuff like that, they asking you to donate to American Red Cross, and American Red Cross planning for your funeral. So I don't. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff like that. Like you're donating to places and other with other people. You're not worried about where your money goes ever. But until it comes to something for your people in general, you're like, oh, they trying to scam me. They trying to do this. They trying to do that.
Yes, like
Yeah, it's always about that. Like everybody's a scammer or something. You know what I'm saying?
so crazy.
Yeah.
And I did one for Texas because Texas had something going on, so I did one for Texas. Same thing, and I'm just like, okay, but let's also look at Black Lives Matter organization. They have been funding the same people who have been killing us this whole time.
Facts.
Nobody was asking them for a receipt. You asking little old me for receipts? I mean, I'm gonna give it to you, but still, like, what?
And a lot of us live in food deserts, and no, we ain't came up with one thing to no like GoFundMe to create no grocery stores, because we could create a whole chain. And this goes back to like even other communities. I told Kenyatta one time, I went into it was like a Asian shopping mall. Literally, they have
those like an Asian market.
It's called an H Mart. Yeah, the place was called H Mart, I think. And then it was hella like just other stores filled, all Asian businesses, all centered around this one grocery store. It was like surrounded. It's like all cut off. Like there's only one entrance and one exit that you can get into. The craziest thing I seen, it was a security guard who was Asian. Other than that, that's the only time I ever seen an Asian security guard. But yeah, but that's the only other time that I've seen one. So I'm like, that's crazy that even the security guard is, part of this community, and they built that. But how many millionaires have we always had, and how many millions have they donated? Not telling them, where to put your money at or whatnot, but how much money they've just donated into the community. Why can't that all just be focused sometimes to, starting up a grocery store or starting up a chain of grocery stores? Because it's not that difficult, because people by themselves have started up grocery stores, even if it's small, convenient, like smaller, storefronts that's not the same size as a Walmart or a Target, even if it's smaller storefronts, but still hold, fruits, vegetables, healthy foods for our community. Because a lot of us, we only got a McDonald's on the corner and a liquor store across the street on the other corner. And that's your nutrition for the next 10 years because you can't get up out of your situation. Right. So that's another wild thing that I've seen, especially when it comes to money. And I like when you talk about economics, because it's so powerful, and everybody needs to understand how it works, because literally it's a way that can help us elevate out of our situation. Not completely, but it's at least the first step with how much money that we do come into and how much we do consume. Like, if you just spending dollars aimlessly, then that's where our future is at, really.
Facts. And when it comes to business too, like I feel like a lot of our people are behind on just the concepts of it. Like sometimes when I talk to people about stocks, they think I'm trying to scam them, or they try to say it's a Forex thing. You know what I mean? Or I talk to people about buying real estate, and they're like, "Oh, them white people gonna take your money." Like we are so far behind in how business works. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. And it's like you can give them and that's another thing too, right? Whenever like a black person is teaching somebody, like when they teacher is teaching them at the school, right? White person, they don't come up to them and ask them to cite all these sources. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And of course, it's good to have your sources. Where you get that from?
Where your link at?
Yeah, like it's cool to have like the sources, but when a white person is saying it, like it's valid. When a black person says it, you gotta have like a Wikipedia APA citation,
and you gotta show proof, and you gotta show your work. You gotta show the proof
on what you just said. And I think it was Nuri Muhammad I was watching. No, it was Abdul Muhammad, and he was actually talking about black economics, and it was funny because he had this piece of paper, and he was like, in my hand, right, is everything that's gonna validate this, sadly, and it's a white person saying everything I'm saying. So it's almost like we can say the same things, but if a white person says it's valid, black person, it's iffy. We got to have this APA citation. You feel me, for everything we say, right? Which is BS.
I don't really, and that's why I was saying, like, way in the beginning, like that trust factor. I don't know what we got to do to build that trust, but trust is a big thing as far as being a hindrance in our power economics. It's like we do not take each other for nothing.
That is facts. That's facts. We just gotta, leap of faith, man. What do we got? We don't got nothing to lose. That's really it. There's not even really like a certain situation that we need to come into. It's literally we don't have anything to lose at this point. Like,
Right. We ain't got nothing.
yeah, we don't have nothing. So what's
Right.
investing $100 into somebody ain't nothing. You don't even got to invest it into somebody that look like you. You can invest it into yourself, and folks not even doing that. Folks not even investing into themselves, which is crazy. And a lot of times that falls into uh, us not understanding, like Kenyatta said, but it's coming around. People are talking about it.
Yep.
It's coming around. We're talking about it just on this one podcast or two podcasts that we did. There's other podcasts and there's other platforms where they're talking about it and the power of economics and group banking and stuff like home banking and stuff like that. Just all types of stuff. So it's definitely coming along. And if you're around me long enough, I'm gonna say, yo, what? I'm finna buy this black on whatever, because I like buying. I'm a shoe person, right? I invest into random shoes, but my big thing is, if I'm gonna buy a shoe, it's gonna be from a black person. I'm trying to swap out the whole wardrobe. If I'm gonna buy clothes, I'm gonna try to go black first, man. Keeping your people first, man. At least that's bare minimum. You put yourself and your people first. That's bare minimum, man. That needs to be the code.
Right.
That needs to be the code.
For sure. What we got? Any other topics y'all want to touch on?
I don't know, man. This was a good one, man. This was a good one.
For sure.
Ashley, thank you for having us and inviting us, and we happy to have you.
This was great. This is gonna be one of our best episodes.
Yeah, this was good because we was all over here. Yeah, we like that. Yeah.
I mean, but literally, I think we did like. Beautiful. I feel like we did 2 episodes, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We did, yeah.
Like, I feel like we could have the Black family one, and then
all this still gonna be in, because I'm gonna keep this in. But yeah, it was great having you on. Definitely appreciate it. It was a good talk. I didn't know I was gonna be able to talk this long. I ain't even take a sip of water or nothing.
That's why I said it's a good flow. We just had a good flow.
Hey, this shit empty.
That's usually how it is. And I don't want to steal you from your podcast, but anytime you want to be back on, we can definitely. I don't want to steal you.
Nah, we need the part 2. You know what I'm saying? If you're down, like.
Yeah, I'm definitely down.
Whenever. Well,
my listeners will definitely hop on over there.
Yeah.
Facts.
That'd be good, man. Just
this was great.
Yeah, this was good, man. I like this. This one. We was all over the place, but we still letting folks know.
Have one go.
Right. And just showing people like the collaboration, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we got ours, you got yours, but it's all for one cause, though, right? We all trying to, do the same thing,
input.
Right?
I definitely respected another person's input, because sometimes me and Kenyatta, we just get in the flow. And we can have certain ideas, and me and him are on the same like wavelength, like how we thinking. But then you came and it was like, yo, you same with us, so it was good.
Yeah, like it's gonna flow, and like just how you guys were saying, like, oh, we hope for this for our podcast. It's gonna come together.
Oh yeah,
facts.
Well, I'm gonna start recording here, man. This has been the Envelope Pushers with
The Point Is.
Okay,
Yatta.
And your boy Sam, man. And keep pushing that envelope. Peace.
Yo, peace.